Hooligan, was that good? Hello world, welcome back to my channel, and even more importantly, Happy New Year! So, in my last video we were undecided of whether or not I was going to post in 2025 or 2026 of this week, and as we can tell by it being Saturday, it's in 2026. So, how crazy is that, guys? 2025 is finally over, and let me just say, personally, it was quite the weird year, and I'm kind of happy for it to be over so that I can do something new with my life, which means not think about the past year of my life. You know? Today's video is about looking through the past year of my life and kind of just reflecting, really thinking back to all the memories that shaped my year, good and bad. Good and bad. But I kind of had the idea to do a, year wrapped, but I didn't really know how I wanted to, put a spin on it, make it a little bit different until I got my Spotify wrapped last month and I was like, I love music. I've had a weird year. Let's do a year in review with songs. So, to put it plainly, I went through my year, really sat back, thought of what happened, and reflected on it, and then picked a song that kind of went with it. And I'll be listing those songs, giving the reasoning why they fit in, and talking about my year, reflecting on everything that has happened. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. Before I start, actually, I have made a playlist of all these songs, so if you want to go listen to a full playlist of all the songs that I list today, I'll put the link down below, or you can just go to my Spotify. I'll put it up here. Yeah. So first, we have January, and like any beginning of a new year, it was a very fresh start. In January, it was a very typical beginning of the year. You're reflecting on the past year, you're getting ready to get a fresh new start, you're starting new traditions, new hobbies, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Personally, I don't really think I had a bad 2024. 2024 was the year I graduated college. It's the year I got into a car accident 3 days before I graduated college. And it was the year I moved in with my girlfriend. Not to this apartment, but you get the drift. As any new year comes, it's the start of a new beginning, or it's the end of a beginning. January song is End of Beginning by Joe. I personally love this song. I know everyone probably is a little bit more connected to it at this current moment, as Stranger Things just ended. R.I.P. But I have always loved his music and have always been a fan of it, and I just love all of his music. I love kind of the techno feel of all of his songs, and I think this one is just a perfect song to encapsulate the end of something and starting new. I think everyone knows this song because it was really popular in the year of 2025. It had a couple of great moments, so I know it's a pretty popular song. Next, we have February. Now, when I was growing up, I hated February because I hated Valentine's Day. So it was really just a not fun month for me because I just didn't really love love. But then I fell in love. And February is one of my favorite months of the year. Also, because it is me and my girlfriend's anniversary. Our anniversary is February 11th, so a couple days before Valentine's Day. So it's usually just a really love-filled month. So I picked a song that really encapsulates that, I think. When I think of this song, I think of just such a fun feeling love, and a love that just gets you in the most exciting ways. And that song is High School by Taylor Swift from Tortured Poets Department. I think this song just for me just feels yeah, high school love is really it's silly, but we all like remember how it felt to like feel all giddy in high school and like have a crush on someone. You're like, oh my god. And that's like truly how I feel with my girlfriend every single day. Like I still feel like a high schooler that has the biggest crush on someone. And also I just like really loved how um Taylor Swift performed that at the Eras tour when she added Tortured Poets Department into it. Sue me. But February was also filled with a lot of love because we got our daughter Hooligan, which I don't. We also got our cat Hooligan, and it was funny because we got her in a very like serendipitous way. Where a couple weeks before we were just like kind of like we need an animal in our apartment because it just felt like something was missing, and we needed a furry friend, and we couldn't get a dog because we also weren't technically allowed to have a cat, but we still did. So we were like, we definitely can't have a dog. So a couple weeks before we had the opportunity to maybe get Hooligan, we just kept like going to Petco and being like, okay, if there's a cat here, we're just gonna have to get it right now. And there never was. But then Hooligan fell into our laps. One of our friends, was looking to rehome her aunt's cat, and she ended up here. And we love her, even though she might not love us sometimes. But that leads me to my March song, because in March it was really about us becoming a family. And as cheesy as it sounds, it was really fun to it's been really fun to have an animal with Tara. We really can't wait to get a dog in the future, but having a cat and having an animal and just seeing a different side of your partner, even like I know everyone says it when they have children, you see a different side of your partner and it makes you fall in love with them more. And it's like I'm it's a little cheesy that I have the same feelings when we got a cat, but I just love my girlfriend so much and I know how happy having an animal makes her. And so in turn, that makes me very happy. But March was just really about crafting our new family and just having love. So for March, I picked I've Seen It by Olivia Dean. The song is just all about finding love everywhere. And I feel like that really coincides with, getting a new animal and you're giving them a new home and some new love. And it felt really sweet to be able to do that with Hooligan. I just love Olivia Dean's voice. I think 2025 was like the beginning of her years. For years. 2025, like we really was introduced to her, but I think 2026 is Olivia Dean's year. I hope she's gonna blow up in a really big way because I I think she has one of the most beautiful voices in the world, and her music, her sound is just gorgeous. I love Olivia Dean. Then April comes around, and not much was happening at this point of life other than, work was getting a little bit busier. We were starting to get into the heavier months, and I just feel like life was kind of at a stagnant point. I was like, the seasons were changing, and, there wasn't too much happening, but I picked Keep It Up by Rex Orange County because though it's a song that is kind of depressing in the lyrics, it also is a very upbeat song, and I feel like that's what a lot of my life is. It's kind of depressing, but it's also a little upbeat. What a beautiful way to put that. I just really like the upbeatness of this song, and I think April is a very like woohoo month, but it's also like it just feels like a random time of year. Um, but I was definitely getting a little bit busier with work, and that is not fun. But I do think the core of the song is really about having these feelings, being stressed, being a little depressed, but ultimately pushing through and like still getting on with your day. And that's what I was really doing at the beginning of the more stressful months at work. Was I was having a busy time, but I was also still having a very fun time. For May, I picked You're Gonna Go Far by Noah Khan. This song is just it's chef's kiss. It really is. If you have ever moved away from home, whether it was like 30 minutes away for college or 2 hours away, like I have moved away from my family and from where I grew up, you kind of get the feelings of what this song is like pointing to. Like anyone who has gone through a big move in their younger years and like college years and your early 20s when you're moving away from your childhood home to whether it's for school, for love, for anything. When you move away from your childhood home, it brings up a lot of big emotions. And I think even though I haven't lived at home for over a year, there are definitely emotions that come back up every once in a while. And I think this song really does a beautiful way of like kind of helping with those emotions because you hear the song and you're like, yeah, it's sad to move away, but there's also like full feeling of you kind of have to move away from what you're comfortable with to grow in life. And I think that this song in the month of May for me in 2025 was kind of a lot about that. It had been 1 year since I graduated college. So it was a lot of reflecting on, what I had done in college and what I had done since I graduated college. Reflective on that and how my life had grown since what I thought it would from graduating. And then also, it was the 1 year anniversary of my car accident that happened before graduation. So it was a from May of 2024 to May of 2025 was like a very stop and go time when it came to anxiety and depression having to do with graduating college and getting into a really bad car accident. It just led to a lot of emotions and a lot of anxieties. And I think in May, I was able to look back on my year of growth and see how much I've grown since I first got into my accident or since I first graduated college, and how different of a person I am now than I was then. And I think May really brought on those emotions of, oh my God, where am I in life? But also knowing that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I think this song is a beautiful way to keep that reminder. I think if you're someone who relates to these feelings I've talked about, you'll really love this song. But also, if you're someone who has gone through grief and losing a loved one, I think this is also a very helpful song for that. So, June song, I have really like one reason and one reason only for having this song is that Pride Month. Two reasons. Okay. One main reason. Gay. Pride Month. Gay. Truly, when June comes around, my like only focus is Pride. We go to Providence Pride and we go to Boston Pride, and obviously we're gay, so Pride is like very big. It's pretty important for us. But I love going to Pride, and it always is a very fun and very prideful, proud month of being a gay person. And so I picked Pretty Girls by Renee Rapp because I love girls and I love Renee Rapp. So who better to represent my month of June than Renee Rapp herself, than the lesbian god herself. But June is just always a really fun month, and going to all the different celebrations for Pride is just really comforting. And you're truly find yourself around your people when you go to Pride events, and it's just the most fun, comforting time of year. It's just the most fun and comforting time of year. So, but that was June, and pretty much the only way to sum it up is gay. We love that. In July of 2025, I turned 23, and you would think the song that I picked for July would be about my birthday and turning 23, but honestly, can't lie, my birthday and just the entire feeling of joy around my birthday was kind of crushed due to a bit of a friend breakup and kind of situations that happened at my birthday party. Maybe didn't make for the best month. So yeah, I really would think, you would think you look back on your birthday month and you really are like, oh my God, my birthday, yay. But though my actual birthday was so fun, my girlfriend took me on a fun little day. So yeah, it's depressing, but it's the truth. Would not be able to make a year recap without just truly bringing up one of the main things that put a in my year. Without getting into too much detail, I think we can tell that maybe this isn't an entirely resolved issue. And that's not my fault. Anyway, the song I picked for July was "The Grudge" by Olivia Rodrigo. So yeah, that's kind of setting, and we're only halfway through the year. So then the feelings from July did kind of bleed into a lot of the rest of the year. It's a hard thing to recover from. Yeah. Yeah. For August to really keep on the theme of the feelings of going through a friend breakup, I picked I Wish I Hated You by Ariana Grande. This I think really explains the feeling well of going through a breakup and like really wanting to look back at the person and what they did and be like, "Oh my god, I hate you so much. I never want to see you," but still kind of having those feelings of, "No, you were a big part of my life. You are a big part of my life. This is a crazy thing that you did, but I don't hate you." And it's really a hard feeling to get over because you know that you should really feel angry, and you do. You do. But you know that you should really have harsher feelings towards someone who does you dirty, but sometimes it's really like, you go back on the years and memories that you have and you're like, I physically can't hate this person because we have so much history. But a lot of getting through a breakup and kind of getting over a breakup is realizing that it's okay to have both of those feelings towards someone. It's okay to love your past with the person and think about your past with the person, but it's also okay to hate them and really have distrust in them for things that they did. But it's definitely a hard thing to come to terms with, of, realizing I will probably always have these mixed feelings for the rest of my life, but there's always going to be part of me that doesn't hate you, and there's always going to be part of me that does. And I think Ariana Grande does a really great job of, putting into words the like initial feelings after heartbreak of like going through the motions but never really dealing with them. But then, on a little bit of a happier note, we get into September, and September really was about celebrating my big sister and her upcoming wedding. The beginning of September was her bridal shower, so it was about celebrating her bridal era, and getting to have some good food. I had to be in charge of games, and I'm one of the shyest people in the world and really not good at public speaking, but I did that. So this was a very love-filled month. Beginning, like I said, bridal shower. At the end of the month, we had my sister's bachelorette. So it was just a really fun month of celebrating my sister and her upcoming wedding, though it was stressful because being a maid of honor and planning a bridal shower and a bachelorette, they don't tell you how much work it really is. It was like my second full-time job, but I love my sister so much. So I had to pick a classic for September and for the month of love. And it was a song we used in one of the games at my sister's bridal shower. This Love Story by Taylor Swift. Obviously. So that was September. It was really about celebrating my sister, and it was a bit of a happy break for what the past 2 months were for September. Anyway, and then we get into October, and it was still leading up to my sister's the entire year was leading up to my sister's wedding, but these months were when we really had to lock in. So in October, we're still gearing up for the wedding. It was my girlfriend's birthday at the beginning of the month, and we were really settling into our apartment. We have been in this apartment since the end of August, but with the bridal shower and the bachelorette, there was a lot of stuff in September that we had to get prepared for, and we couldn't really do a lot of settling into our apartment. So I feel like October is when we really started settling in, and it was just another month full of love, and more importantly, being in love with my girlfriend because it was her birthday, and I just love getting to celebrate my girlfriend. So I picked Warm by Ariana Grande. This song, I feel like it's about the most perfect kind of love, and what love should be like is that on my own, as my own person, I'm a really cool person. Hell yeah. But when me and my girlfriend are together, everything just feels more full and more like everything's where it's meant to be. So I do feel like a more complete person when I'm with her, and I feel a little bit like a warmer person when I'm with her, and both can't say it's really in the physical sense because my girlfriend's hands and feet are freezing. But for the metaphorical sense, I do feel a lot warmer when my girlfriend's around because I just feel a lot more full of love. See, I had a sad year mixed in with a lot of love, and that's what's really important. And then November came around. Now the November started off like really good. Started off really good. The beginning of November was my sister's wedding. So yay, I got to like really officially clock out of my second full-time job because the wedding was over and I didn't really have anything I had to plan anymore. And then, to a more literal sense, I did clock out forever from my actual full-time job. Because as we know, I got laid off in November. So, it started off really good and it was gearing up to be like a really happy month. And then, no longer my place of employment. My old place of employment ruined that for me by ruining my month and my year, honestly. So, to really, really show my depression during getting laid off and during the time period of November, because I'm a little bit better now. I'm a little bit better now, still laid off, but not as depressed. But in November was when I was like really, really feeling it. I picked one of the probably most depressing songs. Yeah, Mirror Ball by Taylor Swift. Truly, this song just like makes me want to shrivel up and die, but in such a good way. In such a good way, and Taylor Swift really knows how to do that. But it really nothing else to say but the other than the fact that it was depressing. And getting laid off is not fun. Not for the weak, not fun. Nah, 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 nah. But that brings us into December, where still laid off, but again, not as depressed. And it really is about taking baby steps, which is our next song by Olivia Dean. I think this is, though it really is a song about trying to get through a breakup. And no, I'm not going through one of those. Really is a good way to wrap up the year. I'm taking baby steps to make my next year better. And I feel like December was really about putting in the groundworks to have a more successful new year and to hopefully have a happier new year than what was the last 6 months of my 2025. And though that finishes my year in review for 2025, I'm going to leave this playlist off with one thing, which is what my song intention for the year of 2026 is. And that is one of my favorites, all-time favorite songs, Vienna by Billy Joel. This song is about slowing down, kind of putting a pause on the rush of trying to get through life. Kind of how baby steps, it's all about taking baby steps to find a new path, find a new journey, and I think Vienna is really about putting those little steps into action and embracing change, embracing a journey that is one that we don't really know about yet. I think Vienna, it's just such a beautiful song. I could listen to it on and on forever for the rest of my life and never get sick of it because it just. I just love that song, and I think it's a beautiful mindset to have going into 2026, that life is all about slowing down and taking in the moments and remembering them. So I hope you guys liked this video, and it was really fun. Actually, I didn't think that filming this video I'd have so much fun just sitting down and kind of telling the raw truth about stuff that has happened in my year. And it's a really fun way to kind of reflect and look back by putting a song to every month. And I personally love music so much and I love music and its power of bringing people together and being able to tell stories that not everyone is able to tell on their own. And that's why I love music, and I loved using this as a way to reflect on my year, and I would really recommend to do it if you could. But if you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And comment down below what your song for the next year is, and kind of manifest and have that song help manifest what your next year will bring. I hope that it brings you guys all the happiness and love and cheer in the world. Happy New Year, guys. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.